Hey, I'm just following orders. Let me get one of those slow motion pictures, bro. One of the slow motion pictures.
You gotta shoot at 60 frames per second.
Come on, that.
They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move and coach shit. You see me, they like, ooh, chemo shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. Coming up, I'm about to bullshit. They see me, they like, ooh, chemo shopping. I'm on my body, real niggas right beside me. Damn right, I brought my army. Going up like a rocket, and can't nobody stop me. These niggas garbage, so watch your mouth, boy. Coming all black, slithering house, call me mouth, boy. I'm off the hip like a cowboy. I'm a king, you should bow, boy. So they like, damn, man, you cut up. Nothing I can handle. 144 in the booth, going Rambo. Niggas do you dirty like a stick in a bando. That's why I play the corner like a bum with a banjo. I'ma lead by example. Ooh, chemo sabe, got this bitch off the hand. Got this juice, got the drip, about to hit the bitch with the salt. It ain't rap, it's assault. Can't taste a bitch unless you with the coke. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move and coach shit. Hey! One way, one way, one way, one way, one way. Coming up on my
I do it how a veteran be. You better than me. I'm Reggie at the edge of the key. It's all money, no honey. Think you settling? See, you locked up, fucked up, and it's back to the streets. It's One West. You can check the residency. I reside with soldiers died on the soles of their feet. Cause there's death before designer. Ain't no coward in me. Cause I'm cold as a bitch's shoulder. You ain't calling a week. Get the cooking on this beat. Hope you like it well done. Got them killers rolling with me and they all red rum, red rum, red rum. Got you fuckers scared some. Get the banging on this beat till my fucking head numb. Black Glock, red drums, black and yellow air ones. Homie, you ain't got a vest. I suggest you wear one.
Told these niggas we was going up. They was doing a lot of talking. Now these niggas ain't saying shit.
Feeling like a legend in this shit. Lil nigga, I'm past veteran. Never feeling third. Lil nigga, I'm past second. Guns, I gotta have them all like Ash Ketchum. Shotty break a nigga ribs up like his wife left him. We all stepping. Kill you with kindness cause I'm dead nice. That 5'7" put you 6 feet, not talking height. That judge giving out 5 but you doing life. These hands are rude GPS. A mean right. That's mean right. We build different, you know the vibes. And we stamped it authentic, we notarized. I keep a 144 because I know a cod. Noah's Ark, you know I'm with animals when we flowing by. We back again, no cap, when I'm with Cap again. Yeah, they say they want smoke until we matching them. Everything righteous, so you know when we get back at them, you get hit up with a K, but no acronym.
They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move and coach shit. You see me, they like, ooh, chemo shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. Coming up, I'm about to bullshit.
Go ahead, I'm muted. You come back up here.
Only present thyself.
Mataya ban banyam ban yashal.
Mataya ban banyamin ban yashal.
Yahba Hashem Yahusha Brakatham.
Yahba Hashem Yahusha Brakatham. Come on up.
Yashal.
Imagine, which means to stand. Wapaya Hakudum, which means turn and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanau. Shabbat Shemayim. Kadash. Hayah. Shukka. Yahweh. Malak Taba'ah. Ratazayaka. Hayah. Aisha. Ba'arataza. Kawwa. Hayah. Bashamayim. The thunder now. Lakam. Kal. Yawam. Wasalaki now. Kabawaki now. Kasalaki now. Wala'a. Taba'i now. Wanasaya. Above. Hawashai now. Mayan. Ra. Kaya. Laka. Amalakwa. Waha'ala. Watapara. Wa'alamin. Aman. And in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. I'm going to say, the power. Yahweh, Hashem, Yahusha, the thunder now, Hakak, La Pa'al, Wakal Marawa, Hakak, La Taha, La Hamatazarayim, Hakak, La Hakim, Hamathium, Hakak, Al Kawa. Hatama'ala, the God Hashem, Bahashem, Yahusha, the water Amon, and in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahusha, please give us the power, the power to heal all manner of sickness, and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, in the name of Yahusha. Thank you. So be it. We want to say, bless Israel, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahusha, Barak now, Wayasha'al, Wahabaya, Sapari, Barak, Rapah, Bagun, Bahashem, Yahusha, the water Amon, and in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahusha, bless us, and Israel, and the school, bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones, in the name of Yahusha, thank you, so be it. We're going to say Psalms 121. Asha, Ayanya, Ahoy, Ma'ayan, Yaba'a,
Yaba'a,
Isaiah,
Isaiah,
Isaiah, Ma'ai,
Ma'ai,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Shemai,
Shemaiah,
Wa'aratiza,
Wa'aratiza,
Al-Yatan,
Al-Yatan,
Lamawat,
Lamawat,
Regal,
Regalka,
Al-Yanawam,
Al-Yanawam,
Shamar,
Shamarka,
Ana,
Anna,
La'a,
La'a,
Yanawam,
Yanawam,
Wala'a,
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 Yayishan,
Yayashan,
Shawama,
Shawama,
Yasha'ala,
Yasha'ala,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Shemar,
Shamarka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Kazalka,
Tazarka,
Al-Ya,
Aya,
Yamyaka,
Yamyaka,
Yawama,
Yawamam,
Hashemash,
Ashamash,
La'a,
La'a,
Yakaka,
Yakarka,
Wayrak,
Wayra,
Balayala,
Balayala,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashemar,
Yashamarka,
Makarak,
Makara,
Yashemar,
Yashamar,
Ashnapashka,
Atapashka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashemar,
Yashamar,
Taza'aka,
Taza'aka,
Wabawa'aka,
Wabawa'aka,
Ma'ita,
Ma'ayadam,
Wa'ai Awalam,
Wa'ayamalam,
the Wa'ama,
the water I'm on. And in the English, I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
I will lift up my eyes to the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh.
My help cometh from Yahweh.
Which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee.
He that keepeth thee
Will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel.
he that keepeth Israel
Shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right
The
hand.
sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
Yahweh shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in.
and thy coming
From
in.
this time forth
From this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore.
So be it.
So be it. We'll do Psalms 83. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Al-Ma'il Akam.
Al-Ma'il Akam.
Al-Dakarash.
Al-Dakarash.
Wa-Al-Tashakwat.
Wa-Al-Tashakwat.
Al. Yahanna.
Yahanna.
Ayat. Awiyabika.
Awiyabika.
Yahanna Yawam.
Yahanna Yawam.
Wamana Shinayika.
Wamana Shinayika.
Nasha'a.
Nasha'a.
Nasha'aw.
Nasha'aw.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
Al-Aimaka.
Al-Aimaka.
Ya'ariyam.
Ya'ariyam.
So what?
So what?
Why you think your items are what?
What you think your items are?
Al-Tazapanya.
Al-Tazapawanyaka. Amaru. Lakau.
What a cocky.
What a cocky. Magalia. Wala'a. Yazakar.
Shamyasha.
Aywa. Kaya.
Now what items are what?
Now what items are what? Love.
Yakagwa.
Yakagwa.
Al-Yakab.
Barya.
Yakarapwa.
Yakarapwa.
Ahali. Adamam.
Adamam.
Wayashina.
Wayashama
Wayashama.
Mawa'aba.
Wahagari.
Gabo.
Wa'amawa.
Wa'amalak.
Kalasha. I'm Yashabi.
Tazawar.
Gamashawa.
Gamashawa.
Nalawa.
Nalawa.
Aima.
Hayawa.
Zawar.
Zawar.
Labanya
Lawat. Salah. Aishalaham. Kamaji.
Kasaya Sara'ah.
Kayabin.
Badakal.
Kayashwan.
Nashamagwa. Ba'ayan the Ira. Hayawa.
Daman.
La'adama.
Shayatamwa. Nadiyabwa.
Kaira. Wakaza
Zamana.
Kamasaya Kamwa.
Ashab.
Amaru. Naya Rasha. Lanawa. Na'awa. Alahaya. Shayatamwa. Kagagala. Kakwash. Lapanya Rakar.
Ka'ash.
Taba'aya Yaira.
Ira.
Wakala Laba.
Wakahalaba. Talahat.
Talahat. Haryam.
Haryam.
Kam.
Kam.
Thirdatma.
Tawadakma.
Basa Ira.
Basa Irika.
Wabasa Wapaka.
Wabasa Wapaka.
Tabahalam.
Labahalam.
Mala'a.
Mala'a.
Panyaham.
Panyaham.
Kwalawam.
Kwalawan.
Wayabakwashu.
Wayabakwashu.
Shemka.
Shemka.
Yahweh. Wabashi.
Yabashwa.
Wayaba'a. Wayaba'aw.
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 Ai.
Wayakaparu.
Wayakapaw.
Wayakaparu.
Wayabadwa.
Wayabadwa.
The what?
Da'ira.
Wayada'aywa.
Wayada'ira.
Kaya. Ata. Shemka. Yahweh. Labaka.
Labaka.
Ayawam.
Ayawan.
Al-Ka'aradazah.
Al-Ka'aradazah.
Al-Wa'aman.
And in the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
Be not still, O Yahweh.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumble.
And
they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. And consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off. From being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembered. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes of Bol and Ammon and Amalek and the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher's also joined with them. They have opened the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites. As to Sisera. As to Jabin. At the brook of Kishon. Which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like a red. And like the egg. All their princes. As Sabbath. And Zalmunna. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. Oh my power. Make them like a wind. As the stubble before the wind. As the fire burneth the wood. And as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest. And make them afraid with thy stone. Fill their faces with shame. That they may seek thy name. Oh Yahweh. Let them be confounded. And troubled forever. Yea. Let them be put to shame. And purged. That men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. So be.
So, which means the turn. Yeshabia, which means to be seated. Meaning up here, Yeshabia.
Which means to be seated. Alright. Inside grace.
What's that?
Second. Shapak gonna do it for what? Right, so we're gonna pick up where we left off at. It's the I.S.U.P.K Sabbath service class here in Washington, D.C. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Thumb to all the brothers. Yahweh Shem Allah Thumb Shem Yahshua all the sisters that's tuning in. Please make sure that you like and share to the stream. We're gonna pick up where we left off. Once again, it's keeping the customs here in the school. We read it first in the Hebrew, and then we pick up in the English. All right. So we're gonna pick up where we left off last week at 2 Chronicles. I'll pick up at the start. 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 23. Bear with me. You gotta go over it. Let me see. Water. 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 23. Waya Madwa Banya Imawan Wama Wa'ar Ar Yeshabia Har Sha'ayar Lahar Korayam Walahash Shamayar Wakakol Watham Bayo Washabia Sha'ayar Azarwa Ayash Bara'ai Hawa Lama Shakaya, verse 24. Wa Yahawada, Ba'a. Salah. Pick up right here. Pick up right now. Pick up at 24. Pick up.
Wa Yahawada, Ba'a. Hamatazapa. Hamatazapa. Lamadaba. Waya Panawa. Al. Hahama Wan. Hanama. Pagarayam. Napoleon. Arataza ha. Wa ayan. Paliyata. Or Paliyat. Verse 25. Waya ba'a. I.S.U.P.K. Wa Imawa. Labai. Labazar. Shalalom. Waya Mataza Awa. Waya Mataza Awa. Bahama. Larab. Wara Kawash. Wapagari. Wakalaya. Wakalia. Kamadewa. Wayana Taza Lawa. Lahama. La Ayan. Masha'a. Waya wa. Waya hayawa. Waya ha. Yama yum. Shalawa Shah. Wazazalim. Hashalala. Kaya. Ra. Haba'a. Wabaya Wam. Harabayim. Nakwaha Lawa. La'aimakwa. Baraka. Kaya. Sham. Or Shama. Sham. Barakwa. Yahweh. Al. Khan. Quava Awa. Sham. Hama Kuwam. Hahawa'a. Amakwa. Baraka. Hayawam. Verse 27.
Let me pick up from here just for time's sake, all right? Matter of fact, that might have been. Where do we stop it on this person? 29. All right, I'll pick up from here. To what? Wa Yashabwa, Kyle, Ayash, Yahawada, Wayor with Shalom, Waya Hawashapat, Bara Asham, Lashawab Al Yara Yara, Washalom, Basha Makah, Kaya, Shamakam, Yahweh, Ma'awa, Yabai Yaham, verse 28, Waya Ba'awa, Yara Washalom, Bana Balayam, Wabakan, Wabakanara, Kanarawa, Wabak, Waba, Katazar, Tazarwa, Al, Bayah, Yahweh, verse 29, Wayahayim, Pakad, Allah Hayim, Al, Kal, Mamalakwa, Ha'ar, Ratazawa, Bashamayim, Kaya, Nala Kum, Yahweh, Ima, Awar, Yabaya, Yasha'ala. That's it. I'm gonna put that in the English. Go ahead and take it.
Khan. This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 20, verse 23. For the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, everyone helped to destroy another. Verse 24. And when Judah came toward the watchtower in the wilderness, they looked onto the multitude, and behold, they were dead bodies falling to the earth, and none escaped. Verse 25. And when Jehoshaphat and his people came to take away the spoil of them, they found among them in abundance both riches with the dead bodies and precious jewels, which they stripped off for themselves, more than they could carry away. And they were 3 days in gathering of the spoil. It was so much. Verse 26. And on the 4th day, they assembled themselves in the valley of Barakah, for there they blessed the Lord. Therefore, the name of some place was called the Valley of Barakah unto this day. Verse 27. Then they returned, every man of Judah and Jerusalem, and Jehoshaphat in the forefront of them, to go again to Jerusalem with joy, for the Lord had made them to rejoice over their enemies. Verse 28. And they came to Jerusalem with psalteries and harps and trumpets unto the house of the Lord. Verse 29. And the fear of God was on all the kingdoms of those countries when they had heard that the Lord fought against the enemies of Israel.
First, we're going to stay up here and move on to the next verses. I'll pick it up in time's sake. 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 30. With the Shakat, Malakwar, Yahar, Washapat, Wayanaka, Lowa, Ahar, Allah Hayawa, Masabaya, verse 31. Wayamalak, Yahweh Shapat, Al, Yahweh Bun, Shalashayam, Wakamash, Shana, Bamalakwa, Wa'ai Sharayam, Wakamash, Shana, Malak, Bayar, Wa Shalom, Washam, Amawa, Isa Waba, Ba, Shalakaya, verse 32, Wayalak, Barak, Abayawa, Asa'a, Wala'a, Sor, Mamana, La'ai Shawa, La'ai Shawa, Hayashar, Ba'ai Yanya Yahweh, verse 33, Aka Haba Mawath La'ar Sarwa Wa'ai Wad Ha'aim La'ar Hakayanwa Laba Bum La'ar Lahaya Abath Yaham, verse 34, Wathar Dabarak Yahar Washapat Hara Salagia Hara'ar Shanayam Wahar Akaranyam Hanama Kathar Wabayam Badar Salaki Badar Baraya Yahawa'ar Bun Kananya Ashur Ha'ila El Sapar Malakya Yasha'ala, verse 35, Wa'akarya Kun Athar Kabar Yahweh Shapat Malak Yahweh Dar Ain Akazaya Malak Yasha'ala Hawa'ar Harash Ya'ai La'ai Shawah, verse 36, Wayar Kabawahawa I'm a war La'ai Shawah Anayar Wa Lalaka Tharashayash Wayar Aishawa Anayawa Ba'aitazar Yawan Gabar.
We're
gonna take it back over to the English. Go ahead.
Come. It's the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 20, verse 30. So the realm of Jehoshaphat was quiet. For his God gave him rest round about. 31. And Jehoshaphat reigned over Judah. He was 35 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azabah, the daughter of Shilahai. Verse 32. Shilahai. Verse 32. And he walked in the way of Asa, his father, and departed not from it, doing that which is right in the sight of the Lord. Verse 33. Howbeit, the high places were not taken away, for as yet the people had not prepared their hearts unto the God of their fathers. Verse 34. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of Jehu, the son of Hananiah, who is mentioned in the book of the kings of Israel. Verse 35. And after this did Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, and after this did Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, join himself with Ahaziah, king of Israel, who did very wickedly. Verse 36. And he joined himself with him to make ships to go to Tarshish, and they be made the ships in Ezion Gabar.
All right, we're gonna take it back to the Hebrew for the sake of time. I'm gonna hit this one as well. We have verse 37. Wayathan Ba'a Alayah Izar Bun Dawad Hawa Mamamar Salat Mamarash Mamarasha Al Yahawah Shapat La'amar Kahath Kabarak An Ima Aka Zayahawa Paratazar Yahawah Ma'ai Shayak Waya Shabarwa Anayawa Wala Itazarwa Lalaka Al Tharar Shayash. 2 Chronicles chapter 21 verse 1. What is that? Verse 6. Verse 1. Waya Shaka Yahweh Shapat Ein Aima. So like Ein Ibath Yawa Wayak Waya Kabar Ein Abath Yawa Ba'ayar Dawayad Waya Malak Yahweh Rum Banawa Thaka Thayawa. Verse 2. Walawa Akayam Banya Yaha Washapat Izariah Wayak Yakol Wazakar Yahweh Wa'ai Zara Yahweh Wama Yakol Washapat Yahweh Kar Allah Banya Yahweh Shapat Malak Yasha'al. Verse 3. Wayathan Laham Abba Yaham Mathanwa Rabawa Lakasap Walazabha Wala Magadanwa Ein Arya Matazarwa Baya Habada Wa'a Mamalaka Nathan Laya Habaram Kaya Hawa'a Habaka War. Verse 4. Wayakam Yahweh Rum Al Mamalak Salaki Mamalaka Abayawa Wayah Kaza Waya Harag Kam Akayawa Bakara Wagam Masharya Yasha'ala. Verse 5. Bun Shayam Washathium Mana Yahweh Rum Bamalakwa Washa Mamawan Shanayam Malak Bayar Washalom. Verse 6. Wayalak Badarak Malakya Yasha'ala Ka'ashar Aishawa Baya Aka'a Kaya Ba Aka'a Hayatha Lawa Asha Waya Aish Hara'ai Ba'ai Yanya Yahweh. Take it back to the English one more time.
Good. This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 20, verse 37. And Eleazar, the son of Dadava of Marisha, prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, because thou hast joined thyself with Ahaziah, the Lord hath broken thy works, and the ships were broken, that they were not able to go to Tarshish.
Right. So the Lord, he destroyed these ships. He was not happy that Jehoshaphat helped out the king of Israel. Over this time, he was not happy about it because once again, the king of Israel, that northern kingdom, was wicked. You understand what Jehoshaphat was trying to do in aiding, Israel, but at the same token, the northern kingdom of this time, the kingdom being split, they was being wicked, and the Lord wasn't happy with this. They built a bunch of ships because as Ahiah got into some things, the Lord destroyed these ships. Right, keep reading.
Chapter 21, verse 1. Now Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers,
right,
and was buried with his fathers in the city of David.
So once again, he still got a proper burial because he did, he actually tried and attempted to obey the Lord and get the people to obey the Lord. He had some stupid mistakes, but you know, at the end of the he still got a proper burial. You understand? Keep going.
And Jehoram, his son, reigned in his stead.
Right.
Verse 2. And he had brethren, the sons of Jehoshaphat, Azariah, and Jehiel, and Zechariah, and Azariah, and Michael, and Shephatiah. All these were the sons of Jehoshaphat, king of Israel. Verse 3. And their father gave them great gifts of silver and of gold and of precious things, with fenced cities in Judah. But the kingdom gave he to Jehoram, because he was the firstborn. Verse 4. Now when Jehoram was risen up to the kingdom of his father, he strengthened himself and slew all his brethren with the sword, and divers also of the princes of Israel. Verse 5. Jehoram was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. Verse 6. And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel.
So he was wicked, just like the kings of Israel at that time. Keep going.
Like as did the house of Ahab, for he had the daughter of Ahab to wife, and he wrote that which was evil in the eyes of the Lord.
Sorry, Chris.
Would you say that his wife had a big ordeal to do why he went that way?
The Bible doesn't say so in this chapter right here, but necessarily the daughter of Ahab was, you know, they was wicked, so you know she probably spewed some of that evilness on him. I don't know, but at the same token, you know, the spirit of the Lord wasn't in him, and he was not following in his forefathers' footsteps. All right, we're gonna go back to the Hebrew. Where we at? 7 through 13. All right, for the sake of time, once again, I'm just knocking these out. 2 Chronicles chapter 21, verse 7. Wala'ah, Abba, Yahweh, Laha, Shakayah, Bayah, Dawayad, Lama Aina, Habaryah, Ashar, Kara, Ladawayad, Waka, Ashar, Amor, Latha, Lawa, Nayar, Wala Bunyawa, Carol, Hayama Yum, verse 8, Baya Mayawa, Pashai, Adawam, Matha, Ka, Yad, Yahawada, Waya, Malayakawa, Al Yaham, Balak, verse 9, Waya, Ibar, Yahawaram, Ain, Shara, Yawa, Wakar, Haraka, Imawa, Wayahaya, Come, or Quam, Layala, Wayaka, Adawam, Hasawaba, Allah Yawa, Wa'a, Sharaya, or Sharya, Haraka, verse 10, Waya Shapai, Waya Shapai, Adawam, Matha Ka, Ya, Yahavada, I, Hayawam, Hazah, Azah, the Pashai, Labana, Ba'ai, Haha, Ya'a, Mathaka, Yarawa, Kaya, Izah, Yahweh, Alahaya, Abathayawa, verse 11, Lama or Lam, Hawa'a, that was it. Oh, the water, gum. Hawa'a, Aisha, Bamawa, Baharya, Yahweh, Wayazun, Yashabaya, Salak. Yara, Washalom, Wayadak, Wayadaka, Yahweh, verse 12, Wayaba'a, Al Yawa, Makathar, Ma'a, Ma'a, Layahawa, Hana Baya'ar, La Amor, Ka, Amor, Yahweh, Allah Hayya, Dawaya, Abayak, Thaka, Ashar, La'ar, Halakah, Bararakya, Yahweh Shapat, Abayak, Waba, Darakya, Asa, Malak, Yahweh, verse 13, Watalak, Bararak, Malakya, Yasha'ala, Watha, Zana, Yahweh, Wa'a, Yashabaya, Salagya, Yara, Washalom, Kaha, Zanawa, Baya, Aka'ar, Wagam, Akayak, Baya, Abayak, Hatawabyam, Mamaka, Mamak, Haruga. That's right there. In the English, which class?
Oh, Khan. This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 7. This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 21, verse 7.
Good.
How it be, the Lord would not destroy the house of David because of the covenant that he had made with David.
Mm-hmm.
And he had promised to give a light to him and to his sons forever. Mm-hmm. Verse 8. In his days, the Edomites revolted from under the dominion of Judah and made themselves a king. Then Jehoram went forth with his princes and all his chariots with him, and he rose up by night and smote the Edomites, which compassed him in, and the captains of the chariots. Verse 10. So the Edomites revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day. The same time also did Lebanon revolted from under his hand, because he had forsaken the Lord God of his fathers. Verse 11. Moreover, he made high places in the mountain of Judah, and caused the inhabitants of Jerusalem to commit fornication, and compelled Judah thereto. Verse 12. And there came a writing to him from Elijah the prophet, saying, Thus said the Lord God of David thy father, because thou hast not walked in his ways of Jehoshaphat thy father, nor in the ways of Asa, king of Judah. Verse 13. But has walked in the ways of the king of Israel, and has made Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to go a whoring, like to the whoredoms of the house of Ahab, and also has slain thy brethren of thy father's house, which were better than thyself.
Right. So we're gonna take it back to the Hebrew. Pretty much. So Elijah, he all the way in the northern kingdom.
In the last set of verses that you read, he said that Jehoshaphat, when he died, he got a proper burial. I was curious about who made that decision, because you had said like he while he did some things that were right, it wasn't exactly right. So how do you make the difference or know? Like, how did they know that he should get the proper burial?
Well, he didn't die by a foot disease. No, and he didn't die by his gut spilling out how his son is about to die. His son is about, you're going to find out that the Lord is the one that's murdering him. You understand? So this one right here, he did wrong. Jehoshaphat still got his slaps on the hand. You understand? The Lord still put him in a place and had prophets let him know, hey, you out of pocket. But at the same token, that's what happened. He didn't die by foot disease. He didn't die how his son is about to die. So being that didn't happen, his body is still composed. You must have did enough right to get put in the casket. All right. Moving on back to the Hebrew. We had chapter 14. Shalom, sis. The water. Chapter 21, verse 14. Hana. That's a lot. Hana, don't worry about that right now. The sister will take care of that. Verse 14. Hana. Salaki. Yahweh. Salaki. Hana. Yahweh. Nagan. Salaki. Nagat. Magar. Salaki. Magar. Magar par. Got a wall. Got a wala. Ba'ai mak. Waba bun. Waba salaki. Waban. Banayak. Waban. Shayak. Wabako. Raka. Washak. Verse 15. Wa'ak. Wa'athar. Bakol. Yayam. Rabayam. Bamar. Kala. Ma'ayak. I. Yatazar. Awar. Ma'ayak. Mana. Hakolya. Yamayam. Ar. Yamayam. Verse 16. Wayar. Yahweh. Ar. Yahar. Waram. Ar. Rawaka. Hapalashathim. Wahar. Arabayam. Ashar. Ar. Yar. Kawashayam. Verse 17. Waya'awa. Baya Hawadar. Wayar. Baka Iwa. Wayashabwa. Kal. Hara. Kawash. Hanamataza. Labaya. Hamalat. Wagam. Banayawa. Wana Shayawa. Wala'ar. Nasha'ar. Lawa. Ban. Kaya. Amar. Yahar. Wa'ak. Salaki. Yahar. Wa'akaza. Katan. Banayawa. Verse 18. Wa'akarya. Kal. Za'ah. Naga Salaki. Naga Pawa. Yahweh. Bama I Yawa. Laka Lawa. Salaki. Laka Laya. La'ayan. Mara Fa'a. Verse 19. Where does it end at? Verse 19. Wayahaya. Laya. Mayam. Waka'ai. Taza'ah. Hakataza. Laya. Mayam. Shlaki. Shanayam. Yataza'awa. Ma'ai Yawa. Aima. Kala Yawa. Wayama. Batha. Kala Ayam. Ra'ayam. Wala'ar. Aishawa. Lawa. Aimawa. Sharapa. Kashar. Rapa. Abath. Yawa. First, going back to the English. 2 Chronicles chapter 21 verse 14.
This is the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 21 verse 14. Behold, with a great plague will the Lord smite thy people, and thy children, and thy wives, and all thy goods. Verse 15. And thou shalt have great sickness by disease of thy bowels, until thy bowels fall out by reason of the sickness day by day. Moreover, the Lord stirred up against Jehoram the spirit of the Philistines and of the Arabians that were near the Ethiopians, and they came up into Judah and break into it, and carried away all the substance that was found in the king's house, and his sons also, and his wives, so that there was never a son left him. save Jehoahaz, the youngest of his son. Verse 18. And after all this, the Lord smote him in his bowels with an incurable disease. Verse 19. And it came to pass that in the process of time, after the end of 2 years, his bowels fell out by reason of his sickness. So he died of sore disease, and his people made no burning of him, like the burning of his fathers.
Right. So that was just, just to let the sister, to the sister's question, that's how he died. You understand? That's how Jehoshaphat's son died, for being a wicked king. You understand? Good.
It just makes me mad reading these parts because we are in the kingdom. We got our own kingdom. And read the people who just got us in this condition we in today. It just makes me mad every time I read.
Yeah, man. Israel always been Israel, man. We stiff. You understand? We always got to be for no reason. Moving on to the next chapter, the next verse, Second Chronicles chapter 21, verse 20. I'll read it for time's sake. Verse 20. Bun. Shala Shayam Washa Yam Washata Yam Hayar Bamalakwa Washa Ma Wana Shanayam Malak Bayar Washalam Wayalak Bala'a Kamara Wayaka Bara Hawa Ba'ayar Dawayar Wala'a Baka Barwa Hamalapium. Second Chronicles chapter 22, verse 1. Waya Mala Yakawa Yawashabia Yara Washalam Aka Zaya Hawa Banwa Hakatsan Thaka Thayawa Kaya Kar Haraash Harashanyam Hara Hagadawada Haba'a Ba'ai Rabayam Lama Kana Waya Malak Aka Zahawa Bun Yahawa Ron Malak Yahavada. Verse 2. Bun Ara Ba'ayam Washa Thayam Shana Aka Zayahawa Bamalakwa Washana Aka Malak Bayar Washalam Washam Amawa Aithal Laya Hawa Ba Amar Raya. Verse 3. Gum Hawa'a Halak Badarakya Baya Aka'a Kaya Amawa Hayatha Yawa Aitazah Wa Laha Laha Rasha Ya'ai. Verse 4. Wayaisha Harai Ba'ai Yanya Yahawa Kabaya Aka'ar Kaya Hama Hayawa Lawa Yawa Aitazayam Akaraya Mawa Abba Yawa Lama Shakar Ya Lawa. Verse 5. Gum Ba'ai Tazatham Halak Wayalak Yahawaram Bun Aka'ar Malak Yasha'ala Lama Lakama Al Kaza'al Malak Aram Bara Mawa Gala'ai Wayakawa Hara Mayam Yawaram. Verse 6. Wayashar Laha Thara Pa'a Bayazar Bazara'ai Al Kaya Hamakyam Ashar Hakahawa Barama Baha Lakamawa Kazahal Malak Aram Wa'ai Zara Yahawa Bun Yahawa Ram Malak, Yahweh Da, Yarad, Laura Awath, Yahweh Rum, Bun, Aka'a, Baya Zor, Baya Zorai, Zara'al, Kayar, Kalak, Hawala, so Hawa'a. First, back to the English. Second Chronicles chapter 21, verse 20.
This is the book of Second Chronicles chapter 21, verse 20.
Good.
32 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 8 years, and departed without being desired. How it be, they buried him in the city of David, but not in the sepulchre of the kings. Chapter 22, verse 1. And the inhabitants of Jerusalem made Azariah, his youngest son, king in his stead, for the band of men that came with the Arabians to the camp had slain all the eldest. So Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, reigned. Verse 2. 42 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri. Verse 3. He also walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother was his counselor to do wickedly. Verse 4. Wherefore he did evil in the sight of the Lord, like the house of Ahab, for they were his counselors after the death of his father to his destruction. Verse 5. He walked also after their counsel, and went to Jehoram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, to war against Hazael, king of Syria, at Ramothgilead. And the Syrians smote Joram. Verse 6. And he returned to be held in Jezreel. Salakia. Verse 6. And he returned to be healed in Jezreel because of the wounds which were given him at Ramah, when he fought with Hazael, king of Syria. And Azariah, the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, went down to see Jehoram, the son of Ahab, at Jezreel, because he was sick.
We're going to take it back to the Hebrew. We had Second Chronicles chapter 22, verse 7. I'll pick it up just for time's sake. Wama Allah Hayam Hayatha Thaba Wasaf Aka Zayahawa Laba Wa'ar Arrow Yawaram Waba Ba'awa Yataza'ar An Yahweh Rum Arrow Yahweh Ar Bun Namashya Ashor Mashakawa Yahweh Laha Karya Baya Aka'ar, verse 8. Wayahaya Kahashapat Yahweh Ar Ain Baya Aka'ar Waya Mataza'ar Sharaya or Sharya Yahweh Da Wabanya Akaya Akazaya Hawa Masharathium La'ar Kaza Yahweh Waya Haragum. Verse 9. Waya Bakash Ar Akar Zayahawa Waya Lakadhawa Waha Wa'ar Matha Kaba'ar Bashamarwan Waya Ba'ar Hawa Al Yahawa'ar Waya Mathawa Waya Kabar Hawa Kaya Ama Rawa Bun Yaha Washapat Hawa'ar Ashar Darash Ar Yahawah Bakal Laba Bawa Wa'ayan Laba Ya Aka Zaya Hawa Yatazar Salaki. La'ai Tazar Kaka Lamaka, verse 10. Verse 10, what I fella Yahweh, Ama, Aka Zaya Hawa, Ra'atha, Kaya, Matha, Bana, Dabar, Kal, Zarai, Hamalaka, Labaliyah, Yahweh, verse 11, with the Kaka, Yahar, Washabai, Ba, Hamalak, Yawaash, Bun, Aka, Zaya, Hawa, Watha, Gana, Ba, Athawa, Mathawak, Banya, Hamalak, Hama, Wathayam, Wathathun, Athawa, Wa'a, Maya, Nak, Mayan, Kathawa, Bakadar, Hamatzwa, Watha Sathayar, Hawa, Watha, what Yahar, Washabai, Ba, Hamalak, Yahawah, Asha, Yahweh Yadai, Hakahan, Kaya, Hayar, Hayatha, Akawa, Akaza Yahweh, Mapunya, Atha, La Yahweh, Wala'a, Hamayatha, Tahawa, verse 12, Wayahaya, Atham, Babaya, Ha'ar, Lahayam, Matha, Kaba'a, Shah, Shanayam, Wa'ai, Thakaya, Malaka, Al, Ha'aratazar, 2 Chronicles chapter 23, verse 1. Waba'ai, Salaki, Waba, Shanaya, Shana, Hasha Ba'ai, Ya, Hathar, Kazaka, Yaha, Waya Da'ai, Waya Kakar, Sharya, Hama Awa, La'ai, Zaraya Hawa, Bun, Yawakam, Wala, Yasha Ma'ai Al, Bun, Yahar, Wakakana, Wala, Wala'ai, Zara Yahweh, Bun, I will bar, Wa'av, Ma'ai, Shayahawa, Bun, Ida Yahweh, Wa'av, Allah Yashapat, Bun, Zakaria, Imawa, Baba Rayat. We're going to pick back up in the English. Let's go ahead.
This is the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 22, verse 7. And the destruction of Ahaziah was of God by coming to Joram. For when he was come, he went out to Joram against Jehu, the son of Nimashai, whom the Lord had anointed to cut off the house of Ahab. Verse 8. And it came to pass that when Jehu was executing judgment upon the house of Ahab, and found the princes of Judah and the sons of their brethren of Ahaziah, that ministered to Ahaziah, and slew them. He slew them. Verse 9. And he sought Ahaziah, and they caught him, for he was hid in Samaria, and brought out him to Jehu. And when they had slain him, they buried him, because said they, he is the son of Jehoshaphat, who sought the Lord with all his heart. So the house of Ahaziah had no power to keep still the kingdom.
Keep going.
Verse 10. But when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal of the house of Judah. Verse 11. But Jehoshaphat, the daughter of the king, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons that were slain.
It's a lot. We in a rush of time, but I'm gonna just point it out. I said it before. We say it again. Brothers reading these names, just understand that this is Israel right here in the flesh. It's hard as heck to say our names. You got all the sisters. Now I ain't even gonna give a few. Is off the top of my head I can't even give a few, but just know these is ghetto names right here. But they holy ghetto names. All right. So when you read them, just read it like you're ratchet. You understand? Good.
And put him and his nurse in a bedchamber. So Jehoshaphat, the daughter of King Jehoram, the wife of Jehoiada, the priest, for she was the sister of Ahaziah, hid him from Athaliah, so that he slew him not. Verse 12. And he was with them hid in the house of God 6 years, and Athaliah reigned over the land.
Keep going.
Verse 23, chapter 23, verse 1. And in the 7th year, Jehoiada strengthened himself and took the captains of hundreds, Azariah, the son of Jehoram, and Ishmael, the son of Yahanna, and Azariah, the son of Obed, and Maaseiah, the son of Adaiah, and Elishaphat, the son of Zechariah, into covenant with him.
Good reading, strong reading from the brothers today. You understand? We were short on time today. Any questions that weren't answered, or if you had any questions, Lord allow, we'll get them next week. There's no problem for us. We're just in a rush right now. Of course, give a hand to the sisters, bring it through the food. And that brother definitely needed it today. So most I pray. We're gonna pick up where we left off last week. Next week, Lord allow, with the Sabbath service. With that, Imagine, which means to stand. Imagine, which means to stand. Lord allow.
Shalom.
Been a visitor, gird thy loins, prepare to salute the Torah.
Yahanna.
Imagine, which means to stand. Wapaya Hakwadam, which means turn and face the east. It said the Lord's head prayer in Hebrew. Abinah, Shabbat Shemayim, Kadah, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malak Wafka, Taba'ah, Ratazayah, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratas, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Bathunana, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalaki Nawa,
Kabawaki Nawa,
Kabawaki Nawa,
Kasalaki Nawa,
Kasalaki Nawa,
Kabawaki Nawa,
Kabawaki Nawa,
Wala A,
Wala
Dabaya Nawa,
Wanasaya One,
Wanasaya One,
Abo,
Hawashai Nawa,
Hawashai Nawa, Mayan,
Rai,
Rai,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Laka,
Laka,
Hamalakwa,
Hamalakwa,
Wa'ala,
Wa'ala,
Watapara, La'abalanya,
La'abalanya,
Aman,
Aman. In the English, our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom
thy
come.
will be done,
Thy will be done.
in earth,
In earth,
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread.
and forgive us our debts,
Forgive us our debts.
as we forgive our debtors,
As we forgive our debtors.
and lead us not
And lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation.
but deliver us from evil.
Deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
Thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it. We'll say, Hakak the power, Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Balakashah,
Balakashah,
the thunder now,
Thunder now,
Hakak,
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 La Ba'ah,
La Ba'ah,
Kamaka'ah,
Kamala,
Wakal Marawa,
Kamalawa,
Hakak,
Hakak,
La Tahah,
Natahal,
Hamatazariah,
Hamatazariah,
Hakak,
Hakak,
La Hakim,
Nahakim,
Hamakim,
Hamakim,
Hakak,
Hakak,
Al-Kawa,
Awakawa,
Hatama'ala,
Hatama'ala,
the God Shem,
Nagarashim,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
the water Amah,
Wadaman, and in the English, Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of
In the name of
Yahushua,
Yahushua.
please give us the power,
Give us the
power to heal,
Power to heal.
all men of sickness,
All men of
and
sickness.
all men of disease,
All men of
the
disease.
power to cleanse the
Power to
leper,
cleanse the leper.
the power to raise the dead,
Power to raise the dead.
the power against unclean spirits,
Power against unclean
to
spirits.
cast them out,
Cast them out.
in the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. We'll say, bless Israel. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Barak now.
Barak Lanah.
Wa'yasha'ala.
Wa'yasha'ala.
Wahabaya.
Wahabaya.
Sapari.
Safari,
Barak.
Barak,
Rapah.
Rapah,
Magan.
Magan,
Hagan.
Magan,
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai.
Yahushai,
The water Amah.
Lord Ahmad, and in the English, Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of
In the
Yahushua,
name of Yahushua.
bless us,
Bless us.
and Israel,
And Israel.
and the school,
And the school.
bless,
Bless.
heal,
Heal.
shield,
Shield.
protect,
Protect.
in the name, so like our loved ones,
Our loved ones.
in the name of Yahushua,
In the name of Yahushua.
thank you,
Thank you.
so be it,
So be it. We're going to say Psalms 121. Asha'ah.
Asha'ah.
Ayanya.
Ayanya.
Ahahaya.
Ahohoya.
Ma'ayan.
Ma'ayan,
Yaba'ah.
Yaba'ah,
Isaiah.
Isaiah, Ma'ai,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Aisha.
Aisha,
Shemaiah.
Shemayim,
Wa'aratha.
Wa'aratasa,
Ayathan.
Ayathan,
Lamawat.
Lamawat,
Regal.
Wagalka,
Ayanawam.
Alyanawam,
Shemar.
Shamarka,
Hana.
Ana,
La'ah.
Na'a,
Yanawam.
Yanawam,
Wala'ah.
Wala'a,
Yayashan.
Yayashan,
Shawamah.
Shawamah,
Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ala,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Shemar.
Shamarka,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Tazawka.
Tazawka,
Al-Yah.
Al-Yad,
Yamyaka.
Yamyaka,
Yamawam.
Yawamam,
Hashemash.
Hashamash,
La'ah.
La'a,
Yakab.
Yakarka,
Wayara.
Wayara,
Walayala.
Alayala,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Yashamak.
Yashamarka,
Makara.
Makara,
Yashama.
Yashama,
Ashnapash.
Azapashka,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Yashama.
Yashama,
Taza'aka.
Taza'aka,
Wabawa'aka.
Wabawa'aka,
Ma'ita.
Ma'ita,
Wa'ai abulam.
Wa'alawalam,
Yitawara amam.
Wa'alaman. And in the English, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hill.
I will lift up my eyes to the hill.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh.
My help coming from Yahweh.
Which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and
He
earth.
will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
You will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth his word
he that keepeth his word
shall neither slumber nor
shall
sleep.
neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right
The
hand.
sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
Yahweh shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in.
and thy coming in.
From this time forth
From this time forth
and even forevermore.
even forevermore.
So be it.
So be it. We're going to say Psalms 83. Alahaya.
Alahaya.
Adamaya Laka.
Adamaya Laka.
Al-Takara.
Al-Takarash,
Al-Tashakwa.
Al-Tashakwat,
Al. Kayahana.
Yahanna,
Awabi.
Awayabika,
Awayabika. Yahama Yawam.
Yahanna Yawan,
Wama Shanayaka.
Wamanashnayaka,
Nasha'awa.
Nasha'awa,
Ra'ah.
Ra'ash,
Al-Aimaka.
Al-Aimaka,
Ya'ara Yama.
Ya'ira Yamwa,
Sawad.
Sawad,
Waya Taya Aitas Awad.
Wayataya Aitasawad,
Al-Tasa Pawanyaka.
Al-Tazakawanyaka,
Amara.
Amarwa,
Lakawa.
Lakawa,
Wanakaki.
Wanakakita,
Magai.
Magalia,
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah, Yazaka. Shum Yasha.
Aiwa.
Aiwa. Kaya.
Kaya.
Never itas a
Never itas a what?
La. Yakadwa.
Yakadwa.
Al Yaka.
Al Yaka.
Barya.
Barya.
Yakarafwa.
Yakarafwa.
Ahaya.
Ahaya.
Adawam.
Adawam.
What?
Wayashama
Wayashama
Alia.
Mawa Abba.
Mawa Abba.
Wahagari.
Wahagari.
Kabal.
Kabal.
Wa'aimawan.
Wa'aimalak.
Halashad. I'm Yashabi. Tazawo. Gamashawo. Nalawa. Aymar. Hayawa. Zawa. Abanyalawa. Salah. Aishalaham. Kamajun. Kasaya Sarah. Kayabian. Banakal. Kayashwan. Nashamadwa. Ba'ayan da Ira. Hayawa. Daman. La'arama. Shayatamwa. Nadayabawa. Ka'ara. Wakazaba. Wakazamana. Kanasaya Kamwa. Ashar. Amara. Naya Rasha. Lanawa. Na'awa. Alahaya. Shayatamwa. Kagagala. Kakwash. Lapanya Raka. Ka'ash. Taba'aya. Wakalahaba. Talahat. Haryam. Khan. Dardapma. Wasa'iraka. Wabasapaka. Tabahalam. Mala'a. Panyaham. Kwalawan. Wayabakwash. Shamka. Yahweh. Yabashwa. Wayaba'awa. Ya'ai. Wakapara. Wayabadwa. Wayadaiwa. Kaya. Atha. Shamka. Yahweh. Labaka. Ayawan. Al-Ka'arataza. The water Aman.
And in English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
And hold not thy peace.
And
be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hand one. They have said, come, and let us cut them off. Being a nation, in the name of Israel, they be no more remembered. But they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Israelites, Moab, and the Hagarenes, the Baal and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre. Answers also join with them. They have opened the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like a red, and like Ze'ed. They, all their princes, as Zabah, and as Almuna, who say, let us take to our Savior the houses of Yahweh in possession. All my power, make them like a wheel, as a stubble before the wind, as the fire burnt the wood, and as the flame set the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy stone. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and purged, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. So big.
We'll say the blessings. Barakatah Yahweh.
Why
Yahweh Shai. Wa Mayaka Allah.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa alahaya.
Wa alahaya.
Matazabaya.
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 Alawap Yahanna.
Alawap Yahanna.
Ha alawap. Ha alawapyum.
Ha alawapyum.
Ha saranyum.
Ha saranyum.
Ha quataza yanyum.
Ha quatazayanyum. Go ahead. Ha kayanyum.
Ha kaya yanyum.
Ha kayanyum. Waha
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 Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushua. Tawara Amon.
And in the English, bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahushua.
And Yahweh.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding to Yahanna.
Commanding to
The
Yahanna.
generals.
The generals.
The captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The
troopers.
troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
We're going to say the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
That speak against us.
That speak against
Our
us.
prophets.
Our prophets.
The teachers.
The teachers.
The princes.
The princes.
The priests.
The priests.
The Israelite brothers.
The Israelite brothers.
And the school.
And the school.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose.
And shake
The
loose.
treasure of the rich of Israel.
Treasure of the rich of Israel.
That refuse to get to the school.
That refuse to get to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches.
To enter into thy sanctuary.
To enter into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and
To
destruction.
the Edomites.
To the Edomites.
And the nations.
And the nations.
And their drug dealers.
And the drug
The
dealers.
court system.
The court
The
system.
prison system.
The prison system.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the governments of our enemies.
All the governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues
The
and armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic
The
Church.
Pope.
The Pope.
Islam.
Islam.
Christianity.
Christianity.
Egyptology.
Egyptology.
Militia.
Militia.
Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan.
Aryan Nation.
Aryan Nation.
Skinheads.
Skinheads.
Posse Comitatus.
Posse Comitatus.
Gay movement.
Gay
The lesbian movement.
Lesbian movement.
Spies.
Spies.
Workers of witchcraft.
Workers of
National
witchcraft.
Space Program.
National Space Program.
Army.
Army.
Navy.
Navy.
Air Force.
Air Force.
Marines.
Marines.
Wall Street.
Wall Street.
Open up the internet.
Open up the internet.
And the airwaves.
And the airwaves.
Cable access channels.
Cable access
And the
channels.
radio channels.
And the radio
With
channels.
wicked spirit.
With wicked
Of
spirit.
idiot people.
Of idiot people.
That seek to stop us.
That seek to stop
And
us.
bring swift destruction.
And bring swift
To
destruction.
all the heathen.
To all the
That
heathen.
stand in the way.
That stand in the
Or
way.
try to stop us.
Or try to
From
stop us.
broadcasting your word.
Broadcasting your
Throughout the
word.
planet Earth.
Throughout the planet
Let
Earth.
loose all the
Let
plagues.
loose all the plagues.
Cause them to go to and
Cause
fro.
them to go to and
Through
fro.
the earth.
Through the earth.
And consume them.
And consume them.
Let the plagues.
Let the plagues.
Shake the house of the thief.
Shake the house of the thief.
And the murderer.
And the murderer.
Let Yahweh shine.
Let Yahweh shine.
Michael and Gabriel.
Michael and Gabriel.
Come down with the flying
Come down with
swords.
the flying swords.
And punish all the
And
heathen
punish all the heathen
that come up against us.
that come against us.
As we speak thy word.
As we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known.
Cause it to be known.
By all.
By all.
That is the angels that have done it.
That is the angels that have done it.
Cause it to be spread.
Cause it to be spread.
Through the media.
Through the media.
Throughout the whole world.
Throughout the whole world.
Cause it to shake it that coming.
Cause it to shake thy
In
coming.
the name of Yahweh
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it. So, which means the term, sisters be seen. One courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel. Imagine Shabbat, Imagine Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yahweh Matah, Saul, which means the term. Sisters, you may stand. We'll give a courtesy salute to the sisters, men of Israel. Imagine Shabbat, Imagine Barak,
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua.
Yahweh Matah, class dismissed.
No, actually, hold it.
Both sides, Chris.